evening, my friends, and welcome to Wednesday Wellness once again. And if this is your first time tuning in, I'm Nurse Elaine of Gravitas Med Spa. I've been a registered nurse for over 3 decades, and I am so excited for our topic tonight. Have you ever get a chance to do your gut checked? Do you feel that you are sabotaging your digestion without even knowing it? So stay with us because we are going to deep dive into this topic, and I'm just excited because we have some expert panel that is going to join us tonight to share their knowledge, expertise in this particular topic. And so we stay tuned. And if you're watching us live, please comment hashtag live. And if you're going to catch this on replay later on, please comment hashtag replay so we know. And then feel free if you have any questions along the way, please write down in the comments your question, and we have our panel of experts that's going to answer your questions. Okay, so let's welcome our panel of experts. And here we are, Dr. Angelica, Dr.
everyone.
Amanda, and Megan. So why don't you ladies introduce yourself first to our viewers?
Sure, I'll go first. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to anyone who's joining us, and also it's lovely to see you, ladies. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Angelica. I am an integrative physical therapist and lifestyle health consultant. I work in tandem with my mom and run an integrative practice out in Los Angeles, California. And a big focus is really just helping people connect back to their bodies and live their most optimal quality of lives. I'm moving my head so people can see me. So I'm super excited to dive into all this good stuff and just share how you can optimize your digestion.
Dr. Amanda?
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Amanda Romine Nelson, and I have my doctorates in pharmacy, and I am a registered pharmacist in the state of Massachusetts, and I do health, wellness, and life coaching and consulting. And I will just let everyone know that I am a pharmacist who's passionate about helping people decrease their meds, live healthy, and thrive. And that's what a focus is on the business that I have. And I am just excited to be here, and thank you very much for having me on.
All right. Well, thank you. I'm Megan O'Brien. I'm an exercise physiologist by trade and nutrition counselor, and I love working with people to educate and really discuss root cause so that I can help people become better advocates for themselves when they're dealing with some of these health troubles that arise from time to time.
Great. See, like, where can you get these experts in this field, right? So make sure to stay tuned and like and share this video so that you can share this information to your friends, to your family, to whoever, to your loved ones, so you know they get this information as well. So let's start and deep dive in. Let's understand the digestive health.
Yeah, so just getting right into it, a lot of us have probably heard, our gut health or metabolism and all of these different plug words, but basically all we need to know is that our bodies, when we ingest food, inside there's a bunch of different processes that need to happen in order to break down the food so that it can create energy to put into all of the important systems that need to happen. So this goes for our brain health, our heart health, our muscles, and all of these different things. But what can happen is, depending on certain lifestyle factors, which we are going to get into in just a bit, that can really impact the quality and how optimal these processes can run in our bodies. So let's get into identifying some of those common habits that might actually be impacting our digestive system. And then we're going to go into some ways in how we can start improving them today. So I'll start, and then ladies, feel free to hop in and share some of the things that you found along your journeys of personal and working with people in this space.
So before you start exploring on that aspect, Angel, so I just wanted to that's why we always say it's all in the gut. because if that gut fails, everything else, it's like the machine is not going to work. So the gut is really like the second to our brain, because that controls like a lot of things inside our body. So we want to make sure that our gut digestive system is at its healthiest state, right?
Right.
Okay.
No, you went into that. So honestly, we can, just take a little step back and describe what exactly is the gut and what are some of the things that, once again, make it optimal. And basically, within our digestive tract, we have millions, if not trillions, of different kinds of bacteria, fungi, even parasites, good and bad. But it's not a matter of having all good bacteria. We actually need a good balance of both. And where that can get haywire is when we start to have a little bit more of that bad bacteria and fungi and all these different things overriding the good bacteria. So then that's where we can have some of those GI symptoms, from bloating, indigestion, and very common symptoms such as GERD. Dr. Amanda was mentioning something earlier about just the different factors also into that. So feel free to go into what you're mentioning.
Well, it's just when you're thinking about the different types of foods that we eat and consume, like a lot of people, it's just they go for convenience a lot of the times. And so you might grab those over processed types of foods, and usually they have sugars in them. Sometimes we think we're going to look on the back of the package and it doesn't look like it has a lot of sugar, but there's always hidden sugars in there. There's even bad fats, unfortunately, that are there as well. And so that helps to lead to something called insulin resistance, which it's really not only affecting your blood sugar, but it's also really disrupting that gut microbiome. So it's really important to realize that if you have a diet high in processed foods, it feeds the harmful gut bacteria. And while you might be starving the good bacteria, the beneficial ones, so you get something called gut dysbiosis going on. So that's just that unbalance that's happening in there. And then the excess sugars that you are eating, it really promotes the growth of harmful bacteria and yeast. So you can even get Candida overgrowth that can happen. And so then people deal with something called like a leaky gut, which is another issue that happens. So you have that gut permeability taking place. And so when you're thinking about it, you've got not really the good bacteria going on. So it's just multiple different facets that keep adding to this issue. And so it comes down to truly, what are we choosing to eat? And unfortunately, it's like over 50% of the American or Western culture diet is really consumed of processed food. So you have to be really vigilant and watching what you're doing there.
Yeah, exactly. And when you walk into the grocery store today, when you mention processed foods, you walk into aisles and aisles and aisles of boxes, bags, and bar tags. And what have these processed foods done? Well, number one, they put a lot of chemicals in them to keep them shelf stable for a long periods of time. They put chemicals in them to make them addictive. Who can eat just one potato chip, right? Not me. And number three, they strip them of fiber. And fiber is really one of the main sources for your good gut bacteria. It's considered a prebiotic, which is just a fancy term for food for your good gut bacteria. And so the more of that fiber you feed those gut bugs, the healthier they're going to get. And the more it's going to lead that second brain, like Elaine said, into wanting to actually eat more of the healthy foods. And we're just not getting enough fiber in today's culture. Women need around 25 grams of fiber. Men need around 38 in general. And most of us are getting half of that. 97% of Americans today are getting far less fiber than we should be.
You guys mentioned earlier about the insulin resistance, right? Can you explain or share to our viewers, like, what is insulin resistance? What are the symptoms, or what diseases can you get if you have insulin resistance?
Are you asking me?
You can answer, or whoever.
Yeah. So insulin resistance, there's a lot of symptoms associated with insulin resistance that not everyone is connecting the dots to the symptom in this. I certainly didn't. So you can start out with skin issues. So skin tags, if you've got skin tags on your neck, your abdomen, that's a symptom of insulin resistance, because insulin loves to grow things. It's a growth hormone. eczema, psoriasis, dark patches on your neck or your armpits that you can't wash off, excess fat or weight that you just can't get rid of. Insulin also is a fat storing hormone, so it loves to hold on to the fat. That's why a lot of people struggle with their weight. And you've got cravings for sugar or salty foods, fatigue, migraines, aches and pains in your joints, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, autoimmune conditions that stem in inflammation like Hashimoto's, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, even things like anxiety, depression, stem from insulin resistance and poor gut health. I mean, serotonin, one of the primary hormones, is made in our gut. And so when our gut is not working correctly, the brain is not working correctly. And then you've got even fertility issues like PCOS, erectile dysfunction, low testosterone, kidney stones, gout, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, neuropathy, retinopathy, and then things like prediabetes, diabetes, and even type 3 diabetes.
Wow. That's like everything. So if you just can help deal with the insulin resistance, you are going to treat all of the symptoms that you mentioned, right?
Exactly. It's treating the root cause versus treating each one of those independently. I mean, think about it. If you had a migraine and you have high blood pressure and you also have eczema, you're going to go into your doctor for the migraine. You're going to come out with a prescription medication. You're going to go into your cardiologist with high blood pressure. You're coming out with a blood pressure medication. And then if you got skin issues, you're going into your dermatologist. You're coming out with some sort of medication for that typically. When you're treating each one of these symptoms, and I like to call them like the smoke separately, if you just treated the root cause and put the fire out and focused on that, a lot of times these other things start to improve and you start seeing the symptoms dissipate.
And then you end up not needing those medications that, unfortunately, when you go to those doctors, you end up getting the medications and then they say, oh, well, it doesn't seem like it's working the way it should, so let's switch to another medication, or they increase the dose when you're saying, let's focus on the actual fire, and then therefore you're going to be able to completely, in a sense, really get rid of those medications or go to such a low dose on it that eventually you're able to wean yourself off. But unfortunately, that is not usually what ends up happening because of the way the system is set up right now.
Right. Not to mention so many of these medications have side effects.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times these side effects, back in my cardiac rehab days, many people were on statin medications. And that was the number one complaint I got from the cardiac patients is, oh, these statins are just, my body hurts so bad from these statins. And a lot of times the doctors put you on it without any intention of taking you off of them.
And then they end up, like you were just saying, treating the symptom or side effect that people are having because of a medication with another type of a medication. And it might even just be something over the counter, but again, it's treating the smoke and not the fire. So yeah.
Yep.
That's why they like become a polypharmacy, because they have all these medications. So when they go to the doctor, they bring this bag full of medications because they have medication for each symptoms that they have. And then it's like, your body is now confused with all these medications that you're taking because each has their own side effects, so that's why that's why I really would want to just deal with the root cause in order to get rid of all these problems, right? But like the most common, like all over the world, the most common trio is like the blood pressure, the cholesterol, and the sugar, right? So if we can just have something that can help with these three things, that's going to help a lot of things inside our body, right?
Sure.
Which is amazing too when you think about it, because when people are taking a lot of these medications and not feeling as well, then they're not exercising as much, and then they're naturally going to try to figure out a way to feel better, which it seems like we turn to food, and then it gets to the processed food, and then you're eating the wrong food, so then you have the gut dysbiosis going on, and then you've got all of that insulin resistance happening, and they're thinking all I was doing was trying to treat possibly something for their skin, went to their dermatologist, that started this whole cascade of events that ends up leading to a lot of issues that got that root cause again, and insulin resistance. So it is kind of incredible, the cascade.
Yeah, even just the connection too that a lot of people don't realize of our skin health is very reflective of what's going on inside of our gut. Just like as Megan mentioned, the relationship between a lot of the common mental health conditions experienced by so many people, including the youth of our generation, of anxiety, depression, and even bipolar. Like those are all of these different conditions that are becoming heavily associated with what's going on inside of our gut, because it is like our second brain, and just the number of neurons that are going on in there. And if they're not functioning properly, no wonder there's like this fogginess, this inability to function at our fullest capacity.
Right.
And taking a step back too, it's, instead of immediately over prescribing the medication, it's asking people about their relationship to what is their nutrition like, what is their physical activity like, how's their stress management and sleep quality. These are the 4 things that as humans, we have not evolved out of. We still need our 6 to 8 hours of sleep. We need to eat things that are grown in nature. And stress, we live in a world where we have never experienced so much overstimulation, which are all factors that are really impacting our gut health, our cellular health, just everything all around.
Right. Cortisol levels are off the charts for a lot of
Yes,
people. ADHD,
exactly.
more and more kids are being diagnosed with ADHD. And so it is, the problems are getting worse. And so that's why we're here educating and trying to bring more awareness to, here's a few things that we can do that simply can really treat the root cause instead of just the symptoms.
Exactly. And we are here and excited about sharing this information because there's a way where we can help with our insulin resistance or improve our gut health with natural way, right? So it's not about all medications, but we have something that we can do and take it the natural way, not something that take all these medications that has a lot of side effects, right? So who wants to explain that the protocol that is really amazing?
Yeah. I can dive into some of it. I mean, insulin resistance is basically we have too much insulin in our body. We're in a state of hyperinsulinemia. So we've got to figure out a way to control insulin. By the way, most blood work, if your doctor orders you a blood panel, fasting insulin is typically not ordered on that blood panel. It's just your fasting glucose. So the glucose numbers might look okay, whereas your fasting insulin's way up here and nobody's checking it. So that's one thing to be aware of, but you're in a state of hyperinsulinemia. You have too much insulin in your body's flooded with insulin. And on top of that, your cells have become resistant. So the cells are no longer opening their cell doors to allow that insulin to deliver glucose so that it can use it as fuel. So they're not working properly. So we want to help get people to a more insulin sensitive state. And to do that, control insulin, 2 ways that I love talking to people about are practicing some intermittent fasting. When you do that, you go longer periods of time without putting food in your mouth, which means no glucose spike, which means your body doesn't have to release insulin to manage that glucose in your blood sugar. So doing that on a consistent basis. And Dr. Amanda is fat. She's got some fascinating things on, her relationship with fasting. And I've loved picking her brain on that. But intermittent fasting is really important. Doing a 14, 15, 16-hour fast is going to be usually a good place to start for most people. And you got to do it consistently. And then the second thing is going to be the fiber, eating more fiber. Like we said, it's stripped out of the food. We need it for so many parts of our body. We've got to be eating more fiber, but we've got to be eating it with our meal, because when you eat fiber, it minimizes that glucose spike from the food. Less gets through to spike your blood sugar, which requires a smaller amount of insulin. So that's really what insulin resistance is. And I'll let somebody else take over and explain the protocol.
Yeah, so in the protocol that we're talking about with Unicity, it's super simple, which everyone should like simple. It's like, because life can be complicated and stressful as it is, right? So it just includes primarily 3 things, but 2 actual products themselves. So the first thing Megan was already talking about, which is that intermittent fasting or time-based eating, is part of it. But then a tea that you're going to have first thing in the morning to help really cause your fat burning to kind of go higher and put it into gear, as well as keep you to where you're able to really be able to focus, have that energy, and kind of decrease that food noise that is going on so you don't feel as hungry. And then also there's going to be the balance, which is the fiber part of it. So that's going to be right before you're eating your meal. You want to make sure, especially that larger meal of the day, but you're just breaking your fast, having that first so that it can coat your stomach with this viscous type of fiber. So we were talking earlier about the gut and making sure that it has the right prebiotics, and so that fiber has it in there, and it's 5 different types of fiber, and that's going to help to where you don't have that huge spike in your glucose. So basically it's going to keep it coated, and you don't have to worry about those carbohydrates that you're going to eat. But that being said, still people would want to make sure when they go to eat their food that they're choosing to have their fiber first. So you can't necessarily think, I'm going to eat whatever I want, because you should still be wise on what the foods that you're choosing to eat, but you're letting yourself get that fiber in a supplemental form first, or making sure that you're still choosing to eat your fibers first, and then you can follow it up with the proteins and then end it with the carbs. So that way you're still being healthy and choosing wisely while you're utilizing this type of a system. So really it's just 2 parts to the system, which I don't happen to have one in front of me right now. I didn't think of it. Hopefully Megan does.
Yeah.
Good.
Dr. Angelica has it too.
Yes.
And I will say that when I brought this to Dr. Amanda as a pharmacist, she did her due diligence, and as did Dr. Angelica and Nurse Elaine. All of these ladies really looked this over with a fine-tooth comb. And, I think what stood out to me, and you guys can mention this, but this protocol is in the physician's desk reference, which is huge. It is also covered by over 12 clinical studies, some done by UNLV, Stanford, the Cleveland Clinic. And what we're seeing across the board, number one, there's no contraindications with this. So if you are taking medication, there's not going to be a conflict, which I'm sure Dr. Amanda appreciates that. But, what we're seeing is the fact that people can stay consistent with their intermittent fasting, and they can stay consistent with getting their fiber in before their meals. I'm a fairly healthy person, and I struggle to get my fiber in, and I certainly struggle to intermittent fast. I couldn't do it. And so I know that there's a lot of people out there who are in the same boat, who struggle, who need a little bit of a tool to help keep you on track and actually see some really tangible results.
Exactly.
Yeah, just because a lot of the times, there's so many things we see out there for weight management, or once again, pharmaceuticals. This is a tool to support you on your journey towards, scaling some of those lifestyle changes that tend to feel very daunting, right? We've heard everything around the sun of like, yeah, eat healthier and then work out more. You tell that to someone who is, running their household, taking care of kids, running their businesses or their jobs, and to put that on top is a big ask. So what we like to think of this protocol, it's basically like it's a Kickstarter on your journey until you finally start to see changes in your energy levels, which is one of the first experiences that many people notice even within the first few days of taking the system. A couple of their symptoms are noticing how clothes start to feel a little bit looser, because what it's also addressing is that systemic inflammation that naturally happens when we're not eating enough fiber, or a lot of the foods that we're eating is processed in nature.
And another great thing about this is it quiets down the hunger hormones, and it stimulates your own natural GLP-1 hormone, which signals the brain and the gut that you're full. I always tell my client, even if your eyes and your mouth still wants to eat, but your gut says no. I'm like, I feel it. Man, I personally experience that. Sometimes I tend to, my eyes is bigger than my tummy. I put like foods on my plate. And then like after just, eating couple of spoonfuls of that, I am full. Even if you want it, your stomach is gonna just regurgitate because your stomach says no more, right?
Yeah. I want to say that I've learned when talking with clients who are taking this and just reviewing a lot of the information about this in the literature, just what really helps with the fat burning part and you to be able to jumpstart it, as Dr. Angelica was saying, and just thinking about how to really activate the fiber in this whole process. It's something as simple that we sometimes forget to do, especially when you're doing intermittent fasting or just fasting in general. And it's something everybody needs to survive and live by, but we don't utilize it as much as we should, and we underestimate its value. It's truly water. Water activates, in a sense, this entire cascade of how the product works, but how intermittent fasting is going to work, how the fat burning works in here. It's just incredible. Some people don't maybe get the results that they're looking for when they start on the system because they underestimate the value of water in this entire process. So if there's one thing I'm going to encourage and push is just recognize people to say, drink plenty of fluids while you're even drinking the tea, you're having the fiber, and you're doing your intermittent fasting. So.
Yep, absolutely. And I've had women reach out to me and go, I am for the first time in years regular. I've never been regular, right? I have people reaching out to me for that one thing. I've got people who have normalized their blood pressure and been able to reduce their medications, sometimes even getting off medications. And I've never seen that when I worked in cardiac rehab for 10 years. Not one time did anyone come off their medication. We're seeing that because people are treating the root cause and they're sticking with it. And they're being consistent with the protocol. Therefore, they're being consistent with the intermittent fasting, drinking more water, and getting the fiber in.
Exactly. So that's why it's really, that's why when I started taking this, it's really, at first I was like, oh, it's just another supplement, But when I saw it and experienced firsthand the effect of this, I'm like, I swear by it. It's really, that's why I incorporated this supplement or this protocol in our 8-week fat melt and metabolic reset program, because I saw the effect and the result and the benefits to our clients. I even have a client that says, why? I'm like, I have this much energy. Yeah, it will give you that energy in order for you to move your body more and exercise more and burn those fats, right?
Yeah.
And then I even have a client that are having a hard time with intermittent fasting because a lot of people doesn't know that they're already doing intermittent fasting. And then sometimes there are people that have done intermittent fasting, but they're getting frustrated or getting burnt out because they don't see the actual result and they give in because they think that, oh, I will just a little bit of cracker is not going to break my fast. But it's like, that's why having this information is really very helpful, because you don't want to break that fast. You want to continue that fast. And with the help of this protocol, it will help prolong that fasting period, because during that fasting state, your body is spring cleaning. So it's getting rid of those bad cells of the body to give way to the new cells. It's kind of like the same on the skin. I always tell my client with, the dead skin, right? So our skin regenerates every 30 to 45 days. And each time the skin regenerates, the dead skin gets pushed to the top. So it's almost the same concept in our body, because that's part of our body. So that's why during that time, our body sheds off those bad cells, the dead skin. So then it gives you that mental clarity. So that's one of the benefits that this protocol can also help us, improve that mental clarity, prevent those brain fogs, right?
100%.
I noticed that right away. Myself, my brain fog within the first week had improved so drastically. I was shocked. And I was one of those skeptical people that I thought there's no way this is going to work. And because there's a 90-day guarantee, I was like, I'll try to prove that it doesn't work. And, Dr. Amanda, how many medications have you seen out there that have a 90-day guarantee?
There's not one.
I don't.
There's a 90-day supply that they'll allow you to have.
Of course. Yeah. You got to be pretty sure that it's going to work in order to offer a 90-day guarantee. And so if you use this correctly and consistently, it should work.
Exactly. Yeah. So for those of you who are watching us right now, please share this information to your loved ones, your friends, your family, or tag them in this video so that they can hear everything about the gut health and how you can improve it and promote that naturally and make it healthy, right? And then if you have any questions about the protocol that we are talking about, just comment protocol below so we can reach out to you. Or if you have any questions, anything, just comment below your questions and we'll answer your questions. So
Yes.
anything else that you want to add?
I had to bring something up. Oh, Dr. Amanda, please go ahead.
I would just say that it makes sense why it's called the Feel Great system, because it does so much to help someone feel great that they're not thinking, oh, it's just about losing weight or it's just about getting the insulin where it needs to be, but it's like getting the energy level, being able to know that your body is now metabolically flexible. It's able to do what it's supposed to. You're thinking clearly. It's just amazing when you think about it from that way. Sorry, go ahead, Dr.
No worries. I'm happy you brought that up because it's like, why is it called the Feel Great system? Because you quite literally feel great when you're helping your body actually run more efficiently how it's supposed to, because our bodies have the capacity to heal as long as it's given the environment, the tools, and the support to do so. And that is what this system is. It's the support. And in this era where there is also a new rise of medications, which I'm sure a lot of us have been hearing, the big O, Wegovy, there was actually a Super Bowl commercial. I don't know if anyone saw it, that was showing about an emerging over-the-counter weight loss medication that's becoming available. And I was honestly so shocked. Yeah, I'm going to send it to you ladies. And for those of you guys who don't know, now you know, there is a synthetic form of this hormone called GLP-1 agonists that is meant to basically elicit the same things that this hormone's supposed to do, of improving satiety, telling your brain that it's full. But what happens when you take something exogenous? You take an outside form of what's supposed to be formed in your body. Your brain's going to be like, well, I don't need to produce this anymore. Well, what happens over time? You can't ever come off of it. And there's so many side effects that come with taking this kind of medication that more and more people need to know so that they can make an informed and educated decision before adding it to their personal health regimen. So all it is giving you guys the option. Do you want something that's natural, that helps your body create something that it's meant to on its own, or rely on something that has potential for adverse side effects that you have to rely on for the rest of your life?
Well said. Well said. It breaks my heart that a lot of people are taking those medications without truly understanding what the long-term ramifications are.
Exactly. And, I've been seeing a lot of clients, that's like going into our weight loss program, the 8-week fat melt. And most of them are taking this particular medication, but then they said it's either they only lose a little bit, not a lot, but there are some that lost a lot, but they're feeling a lot of side effects. So that's why they stopped taking it. So, and the thing is, when you start taking those medications, you cannot take it for life because, those really are for diabetic. It's a treatment for diabetes, right? So if you're not diabetic at all, you cannot be taking that medications for life. So what happens when you stop taking those medications, then nothing is going to hold that hunger hormone. So you go back. So if you don't change your lifestyle, then everything is just going to come back and more, because it's going to come back with a vengeance, right? So you started eating because you suppressed yourself for a long time. So when you don't do the changes that are helping your lifestyle, then everything just will come back. And you don't want to do that.
And what's unfortunate is the people I know who have taken those other medications, and now they're 2 years posted and they're either told they cannot continue taking it anymore, or they realize they wanted to get off of it because they were dealing with so many of those side effects for so long. Then now they're coming not only with more weight, but they're having a lot more depression, anxiety, and other mental health conditions that now has put them on more medications or different type of medications due to that. So it's unfortunately a huge spiral that is starting to happen with the people who are now can't take those other medications anymore.
Yeah. Dr. Ben Bickman is one of the leading health scientists in metabolic health in the country. And he's done some significant research on this. And there's just like new things that come out almost weekly on what these additional side effects that they didn't know about. I worry what we're going to find 5-10 years from now for the people who are using these. I really worry about it. So I love that we're offering a natural way that has no side effects that people have been using for years and years and years. And not only that, but it's been clinically proven to increase strength by 13%, to increase aerobic fitness by 5%, to improve oxidative stress by 50%. Like you mentioned it, Elaine, oxidation is the breakdown of our body. It's what causes an apple to turn brown when you cut it in half. It's what causes our wrinkles and our age spots to start happening. And so this protocol, specifically the Unimate, has been shown to reduce oxidative stress by 50% for 6 hours for just one packet. Like that is absolutely incredible.
That's amazing. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that till now. I feel like I just keep hearing more benefits about this.
Yeah.
And once again, everyone, this is a nutraceutical, meaning it's all natural from plants, and it's the only nutraceutical that's in the physician's desk reference. So if you're ever skeptical about it and you want to talk to your primary care physician, ask them to look it up and it will be there.
Yeah, and if you want to know more about this particular protocol, we can send you the information or the video about it so that you can make an educated decision before you start trying that part, because I know a lot of us are very skeptical when trying to start something. I know I am, but that's why it's really very important that we are educated about the things that we want to put in our body. So feel free to message us if you have any questions, or if you want to know more about the protocol that we just discussed tonight. And so feel free to ask questions if you have any questions, so we can answer them for you. And thank you so much for those of you who are watching us live right now. And for those of you who will be watching on a replay, thank you so much. And feel free to message or send us a DM or comment #protocol if you want to know more information about this. Okay, so do you have anything else to add before we end our live?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Honestly,
thank you. This was great.
So much.
I love
I
this.
really appreciate you guys tonight for sharing your knowledge, your expertise about this particular topic, because we feel like we need to shed more information, because a lot of that, like I said earlier when I did my story, we only know what we know and we don't know what we don't know. So having this education is really a gift for all of you who are for all of us who are watching, because we are getting the experts here to give us information. So every time we do lives, I'm learning new information about this thing. So feel free to stay tuned every Wednesday for our Wednesday Wellness, because we have so many information that we want to share. And of course, we want to limit our time, because we don't want to get this longer, because it's getting late. I know. And thank you so much, Dr. Amanda. I know it's already late on your end. She's on Eastern time right now. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in with us. And once again, we have Wednesday Wellness, that we are sharing all great information about health and wellness. So, and skin, so we have those information for you. So, We hope that this session has been enlightening, and remember to take proactive steps in making your digestive system at its healthiest state, because that's where our living a longer life, a healthier life comes in, right? So thank you so much, everyone. And you all have a good night. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Dr. Amanda. Thank you, Dr. Angelica. And have a wonderful night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.